Alright, here we're going to look at the chords and scales in C major and A minor. Chord books are great. They're an awesome resource, but they tend to group chords in ways that you not necessarily would play to put together to a song. Certain keys have certain chords, some are major, some are minor, and as you develop some theory, you start to learn where they fall and what makes a 1-2-5 chord progression and so on. For right now, we're just going to look at a few of these, starting with C, and you're going to take your first finger, and it's going to be played on the first fret of the B string, and being careful that the G string and the E string ring out when you put that down. The next finger you're going to put is going to be your middle finger. That's going to go on the second fret of the D string, and again, make sure everything rings out. And then finally, you're going to take your third finger and you're going to put that on the third fret of the A string, giving you your C root. And the root is kind of what gives the chord the name. This is a C, and you should have something that sounds like that. If not, if you're getting some muting, then you got to focus on rolling your fingers, playing with the fingertips, and making sure you have a good arch so that everything rings out. So move your hand if you need to, and see if you can get that sound. And that's a C chord. The next chord up on that sheet is an F major. This is your first bar chord you're going to be looking at. Bar chords can be tricky because you're responsible to take this first finger and you have to make sure all the notes can ring out. You are going to be putting some other fingers on there, but that needs to be ringing out first. So a lot of people early on just take these two fingers and double up and see where you can get that. Your fingers have all these lines at the knuckles in. That can make it very difficult if when you go to do a bar, that's right where a finger needs to be. You can sort of cheat and roll your finger back a little bit, and that gets rid of some of those knuckle indentations. Or just move your finger and find where you're most comfortable and you get the best tone for your bar. But the F major chord, there's your first finger. Your second finger ends up on the second fret of the G string, giving an A, and then you got to take your third and fourth fingers, squeeze them in, which can be very difficult in the beginning, to play on the third frets of the A string and the D string, giving you kind of hard to get an angle here. But that's what you're shooting for tone-wise, and it's very difficult, and that's why I said initially don't look at the F, but if you want to try and start building up some strength for your bar, then you can start trying to do that. We will look at the G major chord next, which you're going to take your first finger, you're going to play that on the second fret of the A string, you're going to take your second finger, you're going to play that on the third fret of the low E, and then you're going to take your ring finger, play that on the third fret of the high E string, giving you that sound. The hardest part of this generally is this finger muting that note. So focus on the tips of the fingers and make sure you got everything ringing out. The next chord, which is very cool, it's called an F major 7th chord, and it kind of stacks up. You get that cool sound. So the high E is going to be open. Your first finger is going to be on the first fret of the B string, giving you a C. Your second finger goes on the second fret of the G string, giving you an A. And finally, your third finger will land on the third fret of the D string, giving you an F. Now, the cool thing about this thing is if you look at it, you can just move these fingers over, and there's your C chord. This never moves. So there's your F major 7th chord. Next, going down, is an A minor chord. Also, first finger on the C, on the first fret of the B string, giving you that C note. Then you're going to squeeze these two fingers together like you did with the A minor chord I showed you. also going to go, they're both going to go on the second frets of the D and the G string. Should give you that sound. D minor chord. First fret here on the high E string, giving you an F note. Your second finger is going to go on the second fret of the G string, giving you an A, and your third finger goes on the third fret of the B string, giving you a D. You only play 4 notes on here, because the open D is your root. Your E minor chord, generally one of the first chords to learn because it's one of the easiest and it builds up confidence. You're going to focus on squeezing these two fingers together, your ring and your middle. You're going to put them both on the second frets of the A and the D string, and the rest of your strings are going to be open. The hardest thing to focus on here is making sure this open G rings out. That's what we call the third of the chord. That's what gives it its minor or major tonality. So you got to let that ring out. If you were just play this, it's a powerful sound, but it doesn't have that G. And then lastly, because there's an E7 listed on this. These are what's called a dominant seventh chords, and they will challenge you. They also cause tension in the music. They don't sound stable. They want to go someplace. So when you generally hear a dominant seventh chord, it's looking to move someplace. So you take your basic E minor that we just played. You're going to take your first finger, put it on the first fret of the G string, making it a G sharp, and then you're going to take your pinky, which is not going to like you early on, especially doing chords, and you're going to play that on the third fret of the B string, giving you a D. And that's the sound that you're looking for. So, give those a try. Try the F if you're feeling brave, but I don't want you to get frustrated early on, because it does cause frustration for some people. You may grab hold of these really quickly. The other thing I just want to show you real quick is stretching your hands. You know, your fingers aren't used to doing this, and they tend to be in this area. So you can actually literally take your other hand and sort of give your fingers just a little stretch to help them get used to trying to do some of these different acrobatics that they're not used to be doing. Initially you want to shoot for one finger per fret. Then you start stretching out a little bit. But that will come. But that's why we do our daily warm-up. So, hopefully these help. I wish you good luck. And I'd rather be doing this face-to-face, but hopefully this helps you.